set my camera right. Sorry, I didn't know earlier.
Nah, it's all good. You're good.
All right, there we go.
So how are you?
Doing good, man. I'm in beautiful Puerto Rico for a couple weeks, sparring with Jake Paul.
Oh wow!
And,
So he's must have a fight we about to hear about. Uh-oh.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'm able to say, so I'm not saying the name, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. Yo, Jake Paul is all right, man.
I keep telling these jokers they was sleeping on me. Now everybody's saying it.
Yo, Jake Paul is all right. Like I'm not bull crapping. I'm serious, man. The kid, he working, he's moving like a boxer. Shout out to his training team, BJ Flores, J. Leon Love. They really put some work in with this young man. And it's not even just that, it's dude really wants to be a boxer. He wants to fight. So people who call him just a YouTuber, I mean, they can say that, but they need to say just a YouTuber who's learning how to box. Because that kid, he putting it together, man. I ain't bull crapping.
And he young
Hey,
enough.
let me ask you a question, Steve, real quick.
Yep.
King Amin of Essex, by the way. I'm definitely a big fan of your career. As far as what Jake Paul is doing, because I mentioned that if he wasn't serious, the Serranos wouldn't embrace him. If he wasn't serious, people like you wouldn't embrace him. So, I'm with you on that one. You got to throw away the label of a YouTube boxer and just consider him. He's a pro fighter, and he has, I guess, the mentality. Talk to me a little bit about his mentality on how he's able to humble himself to absorb them lessons from all them OGs in the game.
Well, he's serious. He's serious about it. That's the major thing. I talked to him a little bit. I saw him when I fought Frank Mir. He came in during the press conference, and we were talking, and he says, "Oh, Steve Cunningham." I'm like, "Oh, snap!" The young man. He opened the door for opportunity for me to get a fight and make some money. Because of Jake Paul put on the show. So you got to respect that first. People they're trying to clown Jake Paul, and it's like, this dude is opening doors for other fighters to make money. Like, keep it real. I made a lot of money for a little bit of rounds fighting Frank Mir. Straight up. I ain't gonna bullcrap. A lot of money. So, shoot, sometimes I had to make that type of money with a world title as a cruiserweight.
Wow.
Crazy. So he
blessed, man. Shout out.
He opened doors. He's opening doors. Now, people who if you don't like him, like to see him fight or whatever they don't like about him, he's the main event. But the co-main event and under, that's professional. That's real fighters. So he's opening doors he's giving an opportunity for these other fighters. He's presenting a stage for real fighters to go and showcase. Look at what he signed Serrano. He signed Serrano's sister. What's her name? I'm sorry. I forgot her name.
Amanda.
He signed Amanda Serrano. Like, yo, come on, man. She's a killer. And he's giving her opportunity. And they're real boxers. So they're not going to put their career in the hand of some fool. This dude is on his business. He's about his work. And he's serious, man. He's dead ass serious.
Steve, obviously, you being a former world champion, but you're training your sons now, and congratulations. We're following you on Instagram and see how far they're coming. That being said, how much can Jake Paul learn at this age? You being a trainer, do you think he can be an elite level boxer starting boxing this late?
I'm going to say like this. Like, people ask me about Wilder. You know what I mean? I'm going to segue Wilder into this. People ask me about Wilder. Oh, he too old to learn new stuff. I don't think he's going to be any different. And I told him, I said, listen, when I got with Brother Dazn, I was 33. And there was a significant change in me. I was more determined. I was more precise. I was more focused. I understood certain things about my body, and the game plan was unbelievable. So I was able to be changed at 33, 34 after having a world title already. This man, Brother Dazn, came in, rest in peace, bro, came in, and I allowed him to mold me. It was because I believed in him. So it's basically the same thing with Wilder and Malik. We saw a difference in Wilder. We saw a difference. Do I think one camp is enough? No, but it was good. It was decent. But he gave his trust. He put his trust into Malik Scott. You know, so same thing with Jake Paul. Can he be this? Can he be that? If he puts his trust in his trainers and listens to their process. I mean, look, he's got BJ Flores in his corner. Now, people can say, oh, BJ was never a world champion. No, but BJ fought for a title twice. You know, BJ was there. BJ was a top-rated amateur. Hot damn, you know what I mean? One of the best light heavyweights at the time when he was an amateur. Shoot, I know that for a fact. So, and BJ's a hard worker, and he's skillful. So sometimes it's easier for a fighter to translate what they know to their fighter, you know, now that they're training people. And Jake Paul, man, he's got the drive. He's got the determination. He's got the drive. Will he be an elite fighter? I don't know. You know, that's up to him. His work ethic, the stars lining up, and you know, but I think he already got the stars lined up because he's got the business, he's got the money, he's got the attention, he's got the fan base. That right there is a lot. So if he keeps on, let's say he fights a boxer that's he gives everybody what they want. He fights a decent boxer and he beats him. Yo, Jake Paul gonna be a huge name because he's already a big name not through the solid fan base of boxing. We know we're hardcore boxers. We know what it is. But the fan base, the majority of the fan base is people who really just don't really know like we know.
Hey, Steve, let me jump in here. I got to ask a question, and then Skipper, I got to cut out, man. I got to do something with the kids. But let me ask you this, man. What do you think of Anderson Silva and his progression? And, you know, if Jake Paul, I don't want you to give us the answer as far as fighting a boxer or an MMA guy, but what do you think of Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva? What do you think of Anderson Silva, and what do you think of Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva?
I think that'd be a good fight. I think that'd be a good competitive fight. I sparred with Jake Paul Tuesday. From what I saw, the young man thinks he's setting up shots. You know, he set me up with a nice little shot. I was like, oh snap. You know, he's thinking, moving. But Anderson Silva, remember, he always wanted to box. He wanted to box Roy. You know, when he was hot, when Silva was on top in the UFC. Silva's got a good boxing pedigree. You know, so I think that'd be a very good fight. But I mean, that's the fight I'm trying to get.
I like that one. I'm
trying to get the Anderson Silva fight. Come on, man. You can't have these MMA beating up these boxing dudes. Who's that who just stopped Evander? Man, I'll take him and Anderson in the same night.
Oh, Vitor Belfort.
Yeah,
let's get Steve Cunningham paid, baby. Let's get Steve Cunningham paid.
He got a decent.
Steve, believe it.
He had a decent straight left, man. But yeah, man. I don't know. That's a good fight for you.
Yeah. I'm listening, man. Belfort. Listen. I'm gonna call him out again. I'm gonna hit the people up at Trill and see if they can make that happen because they're not. I don't think they're gonna get who they want. They're not gonna get Jake Paul. So hey, Steve Cunningham's ready, bro.
So. Are you more interested in MMA Boxing Crossovers, or are you still interested in top 10 cruiserweight fights?
I mean, I'm scheduled. That's why I'm training. I'm scheduled to fight in Poland on the 22nd. You know, what's his name? Jezewski, Nikodem Jezewski. But so I mean, listen, I'm here to work. You know, I'm here to fight. I'm here to work. If the MMA / boxing crossover matches, you know, present themselves, I will most definitely take them. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that. But I still got fight in me. You know, I still got fight in me, and I've been putting in some serious work. COVID really messed up a whole lot. You know, just all I can really say.
The reason I ask is I know we interviewed Brandon Glanton, who fought the Nigerian F.A. Atobar. Have you seen that fight on PBC?
Yeah.
And he mentioned your name, and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, he mentioned your name.
Is that the bro that I was on the post with, and he knocked out the homeboy in the gym?
I mean, Glanton, I think maybe from either Cali or Texas. He signed to Mikey Promotions. He fights with PBC. He fought, I believe, Earl Newman, and then he fought Dion Nicholson.
And then he beat the Nigerian cruiserweight that was undefeated.
Actually, it was backwards. The Nigerian cruiserweight beat Nicholson, and then Glanton fought the Nigerian.
Yeah.
Who's trained by
Ronnie.
Ronnie. He's trained by Ronnie, by the way.
Yeah, that's the same guy. It is what it is. You know, if Al and PBC they hit me up and let me know when and where, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Listen.
He not too young, not too much of a killer.
Let's have the fun, baby. I mean, he knocking out dudes and sparring. I mean, and it is what it is. Do what you got to do, man. But don't. And he beat up the Nigerian guy. The Nigerian guy was so one-dimensional. He should have got stopped, not taken to the decision. You know, let's keep it real. But I was hoping to get that call for the Nigerian guy because he was on top.
Mm-hmm.
But again, listen, either one, I'm cool. It can happen. Anything can happen. I'm available. They know my number. They know the name. USS is legend. Let's keep it going.
For sure. Well, champ, obviously, I do want to talk to you because we done an interview with you, man. Obviously, the same year you fought Tyson, and it was your post-fight interview in the back, and I watched it yesterday. I played it live, and you were expressing your frustrations of his dirty tactics. You mentioned numerous times that he used the forearm to lift you up, to hit you with the shot, that he used his head, and you see those tactics in Saturday's fight. You see him put his head on Wilder's chest while they're on the ropes and use that head to better position himself. He's so, I hate to use the word crafty because I personally feel like those are cheating tactics because they're not part of the Marcus Queensberry rules. But how do you feel about that now? Almost how many years later has it been since that fight, champ?
8. It's been 8 years.
Damn.
It's been 8 years. You have to use that word crafty. You have to also, when you're dealing with Fury and those tactics that are not normally taught to a fighter to use. I some would call them dirty. Some I would say they're dirty because I don't look to use those. I don't have to use those. I don't want to. I want to beat you within the rules of boxing. But again, some won't call them dirty because if the referee ain't saying nothing, then it ain't nothing wrong with it. Keep it going. You know what I mean? And that's what I said about my fight. That's what I said after my fight. And Nazim said it too. You know, Nazim literally said, while we're walking on our way back to the locker room, Nazim's like, listen, he did exactly what I would have did to you. You know, you out there outboxing me, you kicking my butt. He's like, I'd have did the same thing. I'm bigger than you. I'd have put my weight on you, got you tired, and got you out of here. You know? So there was a respect for what Fury did from our team. Like, damn, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Like, now, if it comes to the point of the ref saying, yo, that's illegal, you out of here, hey, but the referee didn't. You know, Eddie Cotton, rest in peace, Eddie. He took, I think it was 2 points from Fury during our fight. But, the fight was allowed to go on. So, as we see in the Deontay Wilder fight, like you said, the head, that's one thing I noticed. His head, he was using that head a lot. And the leaning, listen, people have to, they have to watch Fury. He's very, very, like you said, skillful. It's very skillful how he uses these tactics in order to get a guy more tired, get a guy tired. Now, Deontay Wilder, shout out to Deontay and Malik Scott. They did an awesome job. That was a hell of a fight. My goodness, man. It was entertaining like crap. But on the negative side of Deontay, it's like his cardio is not that good, his conditioning. They worked on his boxing ability, utilizing the jab up and down to the stomach. I just would have, me personally, who knows what they really did, but it's like you didn't really see a good conditioned Deontay Wilder. He wasn't really conditioned because I think like the second round, he was showing signs of fatigue,
Totally
now,
agree.
But then now you have to watch Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, and my wife pointed it out. Who's my manager? My wife's been in boxing for just as long as I have. A student of Brother Nazim. Brother Nazim would call my wife after fights, any fights that's on TV, and they talk. So you see Tyson Fury, my wife's like, look, every time he throws his combination, he lays on him. Boom, 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 lays on him. Boom, 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 moving around, lays on him, ties him up. That's a tactic, man. Now you're wrestling to get this big dude off you. You're moving extra, and now nobody trains like that. by now people should be training for that with if you have to fight Fury. But in all actuality, nobody goes to the gym. All right, let's do this getting laid on conditioning work. Nobody does that. So Fury did his thing to wear his opponent down, which wasn't illegal because the referee did not call it. And he did it skillfully.
But wait, so you're saying it's not illegal because the ref didn't call it, but is it part of the rules though, or is it said not to be done in the Queensberry rules? Like, leaning on your opponent breaking a rule, or is it technically not? Is it this gray area?
It's a gray area because I was told when we protested our outcome of our fight with me and Fury in 2013 with the New York State Athletic Commission, Melvina Lathan, who was the president at the time, basically told us, well, tying up is part of boxing. That's what she told us at first, And we're like, wow, because that was one of our complaints. Like, yo, this dude just laid on me all day. And it's like, and some of the fans even reiterated that. Tying up is part of boxing. It's part of boxing. And I'm like, wow. It's like, man, it is actually, but it's like this dude did it so good. And he did it to where it benefited him so much. It's like, yo, what is this? I'm in the fifth round and I'm like, shit. Why am I so damn, I'm winded. So in my mind, I'm like, I know I get second and third wins in 12-round, 10-round fights. So I'm like, all right, I get out this round. Next round, I'm going to get better and better. And that's the round I didn't get out of. I think it was the sixth. But, really, you could just call it dirty tactics. You can say dirty tactics. Now, you call it illegal when the referee calls him on it. But this referee took no points. I don't think the referee even warned him about I don't think the referee noticed. That's what I'm saying. When you mention skillful, that's the perfect word. He's very skillful at Fury's very skillful at what he does. And it's part of his fight game. It's part of the plan. And it works. Shit, it works. Look at Wilder, I think in the 7th and 8th. Instead of like trying to wrestle Fury off him, he was exhausted by then. He just took the knee. Boom, I'm going to just get him off me. I'm going to just take the knee. And that's what happens when you're exhausted. That's what happens, man.
Yeah, it reminded me of Klitschko and Hay. Well, obviously for Hay, it looked excessive, but he didn't want Klitschko leaning on him. So you mentioned that the merger between Malik Scott and Wilder looked well. And I'm not trying to get you to say anything negative or mean, but for me, it looked like we seen everything they worked on in the first round. And then it was gone. And then it was gone. Like, I didn't see anything else after the first round. And I also never seen the head movement they worked on in all those videos they released. And we never seen the double, the triple left hook to the body ever. So did they ever call you to bring you in? They didn't call you to bring you in?
Nah, man. I mean, listen, Wilder is he's one of those guys, man. He from what I've heard, he's really he runs his show and he's this, he's that. So I mean, I thought it would be smart to get some advice from me or something, but I mean, it's cool. Not that they were dumb for not doing it. Malik Scott is very intelligent. He's very ring savvy. And from what I saw, he gave Deontay some of that. Now the thing is, being a fighter, I know for a fact. I don't give a damn what you learned. I don't give a damn, especially in that short amount of time. It was only probably like 8 months. Probably less than. So I don't care what you learned in 8 months. Sometimes that doesn't translate in the fight, it's because the fight is hot, it's heavy. And then this fight alone is emotional. It's payback in Wilder's mind. It's revenge. It's the guy who beat him, who took his O. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really emotional fight. So that's why I kept telling people are asking me, are we going to see this new boxing ability in Wilder? And I said, yeah. But I'm like, but it's up to Wilder to keep it going after the going gets a little rough. because once the going gets a little rough, we revert right back to animal instincts. Then you see the wide open shots again instead of the head movement and the body, you know, instead of the stuff we saw the videos on. So, and I've done that. I've done that in a fight against a few fighters, you know, a few times defending my belt, where I got to the point of we had a game plan and I deviated from it because I was emotional and I saw something myself. So again, the only negative on that, on what we didn't see from Wilder that we saw in the videos, was the time, I believe. You know, I think Wilder needs another camp, you know, just like that. And then another camp. Also, I believe Wilder will be world champion again, no doubt. I think he beats Fury? I think he could beat Fury. If they fight a fourth time, after Wilder has a couple more fights, and like you said, get that head movement, because you touched on it. That was beautiful. That's the major thing I was screaming at the television. Where's the defense?
His defense, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's horrible, Steve.
But like, keep it real.
He keeps his hands so, like he's trying to karate chop the incoming shot, so Fury is getting around these shots, and then he uses his hand, like he'll put his palm on you and set you up with that right hand, man. I don't know. I rewatched the Valine fight, so I mean, I'm thinking he might be the only guy because he gets as dirty as Fury. But do you think someone beats Fury in this generation?
I really think the only one that could beat Fury would be Usyk.
What?
And I'm serious.
That's that cruiserweight love. Get out of here, Steve. Come on, man.
Bro, I'm telling you.
He too small.
No, he's not. This is what I'm saying. And well, he is small, but that's perfect. See, you guys fail to realize size matters only when you're not using your size to its proper abilities. Being a smaller heavyweight, that's why I love fighting that heavyweight, because I was the faster, more agile, more mobile guy, you know, and I crack. So I can move and block and slip, make you miss as the big 240-pound big guy, 270-pound big guy. You slip one of your punches, boom, you're wide open for my counter right hand, my overhand, or whatever it is. So Usyk being a southpaw, 1, 2, Usyk being probably one of the best boxers in the past 10 years for us to ever see. Keep it real.
How's he going to stop Fury from laying on him? He laid on everybody.
Okay, again, his team is very smart. He come from that Lomachenko school. They're very smart. Like I said, or I didn't say, when I fought Fury, after I fought Fury, and I'm always thinking, and I'm like, damn, if I rematch Fury, I would do this. If I could go back in time, I would do this to prepare me for that laying on. Now, the game plan with me and brother Nazim was to constantly move. I deviated from the plan because I wanted to show the world that I could bang a little bit with these big guys, because they were looking for someone to fight Vladimir. That's what that whole thing was about, me fighting Fury. Can Cunningham fight these big guys? Can he beat these big guys? Then it was for Fury's end. Can Fury have a successful debut in America? Is he the thing, or is he just some tall fighter? You know? So me fighting Fury, I'm like, I'm going to beat him and show the world I can handle these big guys. But Fury was a different level big guy, you know what I mean? He wasn't like a Dimitrenko or, you know, those big guys. Fury was different. And but like you said though, Fury tends to bring the best out of people, and he brought the best out of me, you know, and the world saw it. So I think Usyk gives Fury. I think Usyk could win a decision on Fury. You know, I really do. Because
let me ask you a question. I hate to interrupt, but I'm just saying, you've been in this sport so long. You watched those 3 fights now, but you've been in there with Fury, and you were undersized as a cruiserweight moving up. Is it frustrating watching a bigger man than you, a man with more power than you, not being able to execute what you think you can do if you had that rematch with his size? Does it ever cross your mind looking at it like that?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. No. A lot of people say me and Deontay are similar in stature and all that, in size. He's just taller than me, or I'm a shorter than him. I watched that fight, and I'm saying to myself, like, Wilder, you have the shape, you have the frame to do this, to do that. But, you know, listen, but I never knew about one punch power, you know? I never knew about getting in there and knocking a guy out, knocking 30, 40 dudes out, you know, with one punch. That's what Wilder knows. And you people say, oh, that's all he's got is the right hand. Well, hey, I wish that's all I had too. You know, there's no decision. There's no referee. I mean, there's no judges involved in that. Deontay Wilder has I don't even know if you want to call it a gift, a talent, or just he's been just blessed. You know, he has a powerful right hand.
Definitely is a blessing because it changed his life. Changed his life for the better.
So, and you see, he put Fury down twice in this rematch, in his third fight. So
4 times in 3 fights.
Yo, so that's crazy, man. I mean, that's beautiful. So people can argue about Wilder's not having a boxing ability, Wilder not. I mean, you know, I even, like I said, I was like, yo, the brother needs better defense. He needs better defense. But how many fights has this been since before the third Fury fight? What, 40 what? I don't even remember.
I think it's like 41 and 1, right?
Right.
Or 2 now.
41, 1 and 2. So that's 43 fights. This dude's been knocking people out since day one. I mean, you can't blame him. You can blame him, but you can't really blame him for not being what you thought a boxer should be. This dude is a powerhouse. You know, so
yeah, it's just sad though, because the positioning of his hand, Steve, is like after like the third round, he's like this. And I'm like, why are you doing? You can't stop the jab or the right hand from coming in, and he's taking shot after shot.
Well, even look at it like this too. Well, even in his stance like this, like those elbows, like I'm a coach. I coach my sons. I coach the people at my gym. Them elbows should be in. They should be in here. He had them out. They out here like this, you know. And I'm like, I'm just seeing all of these little X's, but that's his natural way of movement, you know. That's him, you know, and there's nothing you can do. But I just wish if Wilder, and you notice he went straight back.
Always.
All the time, he just went straight back. It wasn't a lateral movement.
None.
It was straight back.
They were working on all those videos they released of him doing these pivots and hooking off the pivot. And then we see no pivot. He went straight back and got hit with right hands or straight back and pushed into the ropes.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, you can, listen, we can do mitts all day. We can hit the bag all day. But it's up to you to get in there and execute what we've been drilling into you, what Nazim drilled into me. It was up to me to get in there and execute what, hold on, let me move because it's raining out here now. I was out on the balcony. Actually, I'm gonna just turn right here. So yeah, it was up to me to utilize what the game plan was. Now Nazim made it easier for me at times because he's like, listen, I understand. It gets hot in there. It gets heavy in there. Sometimes in a boxing match, a fight breaks out. That's his major thing. And that happened in the Fury fight with Wilder, you know. I just wish he'd utilize the defense a little bit more, man, you know, and it would have been a little better because Fury would just throw out a punch and he just landed. Boop, boop. I would love to know his percentage. That'll tell you a lot about the defense. Fury's percentage, you know, his land percentage.
What do you think would be better? And I know this is probably a difficult question to answer as a fighter. You want to fight, but do you think Steve Cunningham is better suited to beat Fury in a rematch or train the next fighter to beat Fury in this first fight? Or I don't know, maybe Joey Gamach and Otto Wallin bring you in if they beat Dillian White because they'll be the mandatory to Fury. Maybe AJ or Usyk call you if they need, like, do you think that you're better served as a trainer to beat Fury, or do you think physically at this age, realistically, you can still beat Fury with what you know? You just need that rematch.
I say both. You know, I really would say both, and on a negative and positive note. Because on the positive, I would love to rematch Fury. That would take Brother Nazim being here. You know, and I'm gonna keep it real. You know, I will keep it real. The reason I was able to look the way I looked against Fury, do what I did against Fury, was Brother Nazim. His game plan, his intelligence was on that level. me getting in there with another coach, it would really be very uncomfortable fighting against Fury, you know. But I do see where there's things that could be done to get Fury. You know, the major thing you have to worry about with Tyson Fury is the leaning. That's the major thing. That, especially for me, because I was evading his shots. You know, my movement, my slip game, all that. I was evading shots and I was touching him. My only downfall was laying in there with him, and because we didn't know, we didn't know that this big dude was going to use this as a tactic. So now that everyone, and that's what I'm saying, even about Malik Scott or anybody who fought Fury after me, they should have. And I'm sure Malik took the. I'm not saying Malik didn't take notes. I'm just saying preparing a bit more for this land. Like, what I'm saying is, I would. In a rematch with Fury, what I would do would be, I would squat more. I would completely squat more. I would squat heavy. I would take certain days and squat about 250 pounds normally, regularly and plus, because Fury's 270. So I would do that on a regular basis. Man, it's like really raining out here. My bad. It's like coming down out there. So I would do that. I would add that into my my training.
So you think, again, this are just the natural questions that need to be asked. I'm not trying to have you throw shade, but do you think the strength and conditioning coach gave the wrong regime? Because obviously Wilder came into this fight looking top heavy. His chest looked swelled. His shoulder, he looked more massive. We all noticed the weight change. And then when he stepped on the scales, he was about 7 pounds heavier. But that translated in him looking thicker.
Right.
What do you think?
I think they should have worked. I mean, and I don't know if they did. Oh, we seeing his legs. I think they should have worked a little bit more on his legs and cardio. I don't know what they did outside of benching a little bit more, which is cool. Don't get it twisted. I mean, he put Fury down twice when he was damn tired. You know what I mean? When Wilder was tired, that right hand put Fury down twice. So it worked. It just, it just needed a combination of something else. I think after watching my fight with Fury, seeing, Cunningham got tired by Fury laying on him. How do we negate that? How do we defeat that? How do we combat that? And the meaning or the way to do that is dips, man. Get them dips, man. Get them in there. I mean, not dips, the squats. I'm sorry.
I'm watching your fight right now with him, bruh. You had so much success with the jab. It's crazy.
People underestimate the jab, man. That's one thing that Dazn he bet the house on. I out-jabbed Fury with he had a longer reach. It's the feet and the jab, So, like I said, my attack was perfect. My defense was perfect. It was just me getting away from him. If you watch, I think it was the 4th round, I hit him with a right hand that should have knocked him down. And Dazn said, man, if you U'd under him a little faster, he'd have fell. But Fury grabbed him so quick.
What'd you think about when he shoves you after the round? I didn't even remember that. I was at this fight live, and I don't even remember that. I was at the press conference. My video of him and Nazim Richardson arguing is one of my most successful videos to this day. It's hilarious, man. But he shoved you after the round.
Yo, I'm like, yo, what is wrong with this dude? Yo, I was already in the mindset of like, yo, something's wrong with Fury. Like, because I'm like, at the press conference, when we were, staring down, he's talking and this is before we knew this was his gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
It's his thing. So, but we're saying like, yo, dude, you're 6'9", you're 270, you're on paper, you're supposed to beat me. The media had me written off. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to win. What are you talking all this trash for? And that's kind of what made me angry. Like, yo, what the hell wrong with this dude? Then he does the push, and I'm like, what the hell? But in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna get him. I knew I was gonna get him. I just knew it. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. And then shoot, within minutes, he's on the ground.
Yeah, that was funny, man.
Yeah, it was. It was weird.
Second round, you dropped him.
Yup, it was very weird. But Fury, Fury he's weird himself, you know, and he's like you said, he's been fighting this depression and mental ill. So he's got a little something loose up there, man. But we all boxers have to have that little piece loose in order to do what we do.
Yeah. Well, man, I would love to see you get brought in, man, because, you know, it's certain things that obviously you can tell someone and demonstrate within the ring.
True.
It's always better to have a trainer that can physically do what they want you to do so that they can teach it to the student. And, you know, I think you bring a lot of knowledge in this particular situation. It'll be interesting to see, does someone decide to call upon you since they keep seeing everyone else fail? I mean, the truth is, people are failing. They're failing, man.
Yeah, I mean, really, Wilder had he has that eraser.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that eraser. He put Fury down in the first fight, and it's like, all right, let's just make that a little better. But how about we make better some other things? Because I remember Mark Breland brought out the fact that Wilder didn't run.
Yeah,
or something to that. And it's
didn't run, didn't jump rope.
Right, so it's like you're going up against a man. I know. I went to camp with Fury. I was in camp with Fury for 4 weeks. Fury is a beast, yo. Like he's got cardio. Look at him in the fight. He's on his toes.
On his toes.
You know, in the late rounds when Deontay looked like he's about to fall. Fury has cardio. Fury is in condition. Fury does.
But runs. Does he run? He's running.
He does the rowing machine. He swims. He does other things. So it's like, when I heard Wilder didn't do these things, he didn't jump rope, he didn't run, I was just like, yo, like that alone will change his fight game. Mm-hmm. Being in condition will change his fight game. And let's all keep it real. From the second round,
he was done. No, Steve, it was the first round, right? So what happened was he never threw that many punches in the fight. Think about it. Yeah. Wilder just sits there. He's a counterpuncher. He's waiting on you. Boom, and he's done. Yeah. Now he comes out, he's throwing 30 punches in that first round. He was done at that second round. He was tired, man. I was so mad. He was tired. That
second round was when he started showing that fatigue of that old Wilder fatigue from the last Fury fights. And I was just like, man, I was like, it's just a matter of time. Me and my wife, because we were in a group. We were with a group, and everybody's like, who you got? And I'm like, listen, I'm going to keep it real. I love Wilder. I want to see Wilder win. I'm rooting for him, but I'm leaning a little bit towards Fury. And my wife said the same thing. And we haven't even talked about it before. So we were the only 2 out of like 8 people that picked Fury to win and in our group. And everybody, we're like, hey, y'all we're the only boxing people here, man. Listen to us, you know?
So I wanted to ask you on air about when you were in the Nationals. Right. I think that you had like a stare off with someone that you felt looked familiar to you. Do you remember that moment?
No, which Nationals? We did a lot of Nationals.
Oh man, it was. They're gonna text me now because they wanted me to ask you because you met one brother when we did the show in your gym in Pittsburgh for Border Wars. So then you seen his brother at the Nationals as a trainer for 2 or 3 of his sons, and he's like, yo, I think Steve thought I was, you know, Joshua because he kept staring at me. And, you know, they're identical twins, so the other brother didn't come up to you because he's not the one that met you, but they wanted me to ask.
I don't remember. Oh, man.
Yeah, he's got like 3 kids, 10.
Fight?
Yeah, they all fight.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So what's up with your son, man? What's the plan with your son?
So I got 2 sons that are nationally ranked right now. Steve Jr., USS Jr. You can hashtag that. Tugboat. That's what his name's been since he was little. One of our coaches gave him the nickname Tugboat. He's 18. He'll be 19 end of November. He's been rated top 5 amateur in the country for 3-4 years.
Wow.
Just bronze medal in the National Golden Gloves, which should have been a silver or a gold, but hey, whatever. We know boxing, but we're thinking about turning him pro. We're looking at him this year, 2022. We're looking at him, see what he looks like. In 2023, most definitely he'll be pro by then, you know. But you know, the goal is there's a couple things I want to see, you know, myself as his trainer, as his father. and as a world champion that he kind of understands, you know. And but this is the thing though. It's like the pro transition could happen a little sooner, because this amateur tournament national thing, it can be discouraging. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, we went to Texas and fought in some national tournament in Texas, and just my son didn't perform good because of it was dehydration. You know, that heat down there is different. We never been down there, so he ran a lot and he was just dehydrated against this guy that he would normally murder, and he just was so discouraged. Like, man, I feel like crap. I shouldn't have lost it, you know. And it beat his spirit up, and I had to uplift him verbally. But it's like, man, do I keep him in these tournaments too long to where it beats him up if he loses? Because we fought the #1 guy and we beat him, and he didn't get the decision, you know. So that was discouraging. But this is boxing. This is all learning for him. And I talked to him because I've been on that side of the decision many times as a pro and an amateur. And he revitalizes his love or his juice and comes back. Now, my 10-year-old, Cruz Cunningham, he is...
How many pounds is he?
Oh, Steve Jr. is 152 pounds. I think he'll probably turn pro at like 147, you know.
And then you'll work him down after he turns pro at 147. You think you'll work him back down and gradually get lower, or you think he'll stay there?
I mean, if he's still growing too, but if we were to turn him pro, like let's say like now at 152, it would be at his amateur weight at 152. We'll go down like 147 because, you know, these guys, that's what they do. You know, listen, they're dudes who lose 10, 15 pounds. They can do it. And then they come in, they hydrated 150, 158, they 147, they fight in 147. So, I mean, and that really means something at certain levels. At the early stages, yeah, it won't bother us too much because the skill set and we're planning his fights. But later on, but he's growing. We'll see. You know what I mean? He's still growing. He's not as tall as me. What is Steve? 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". So at 152, I think he'll get to possibly light heavyweight probably, but that's probably in a few years.
Is that something you're looking forward to, though? Like guiding a career, being as though that you've been on the highest level? You know, you were in the cruiserweight division when it wasn't popular here in America.
Should have been.
You've been with Al. You've been on PBC. You've worked with different promoters and networks. So, like, does that excite you, being able to see how well you can move your son? Or is that still a scary territory? Like, damn, I hope he don't get done dirty like it happened to me, because you had to fight in foreign countries all the time.
Well, it excites me. It excites me because we get to, you know, me and my wife who was my manager, that's our goal, to like guide his career. If our son Cruz wants to turn pro, same thing. If our son Messiah wants to turn pro, same thing. But it's like we get a chance to utilize what we've acquired from me being a professional, from me being a champion, from me being the road warrior, from me having all these connections now. Now we get to do for my son what I didn't get done for me, because on the real, and I'm not just trying to make me sound like I'm some great, all right, man, that's great, I did it the hard way, but we did it the hard way. It was just me and my wife for a long time. And my lawyer, John Hornerer, once he came on board, we didn't have an Al Heyman. We didn't have a promoter. Every promoter we were with, that I was with, never supported us properly. Never. And if you play this and one of those promoters says something, yo, let me know. Don King he just didn't see. I don't know, he just didn't see something in me. How do you have a dude who's a veteran? I'm a Navy veteran, hence the salute. Navy veteran. I started boxing in the Navy. I got with Don King. My first fight with Don was 2002. It's a year after 9/11. We're like, yo, use us, man. You can promote the fire out of us right now to people. People are so patriotic and sending their kids to the military to go fight. I'm like, dude, we should be one of the biggest names in boxing, you know? And from 2002 on to however long that, you know, the whole thing was going on for 9/11, or the excitement, or the whatever, the revenge that America felt. But then but Don King never put into me. He sent me overseas. Who sends their world champion overseas to the Lions then? You know? So you can tell he didn't really care for me like that. Then I get with the German promoter because I'm like, shit, I done fought over here so much. I got a fan base over here and beat their guys. Kyle Sauerland, he tells me at a meeting, I was 34. He tells me at a meeting, oh, man, I wish I had you when you were younger. I'm like, dude, I'm great right now. What the hell are you talking about? That in itself told me and my wife, oh, these dudes, they just want you for the belt. We kind of knew that because I had the IBF belt for the second time. I looked at my wife as soon as he said that. We tried to make our case. I'm like, dude, I'm 34. I'm much smarter. I'm better. I got brother Dazn in my corner. There's a whole new world of skill I've been open up to. And it was just like, man, I just wish I had you when you were younger. And it's like, oh, snap. This dude don't want to do nothing with me. So we left that situation, got with main events, Kathy Duva. And really, you know, their business is the European fighter, Kovalev, Glaskov, you know, those European fighters. That was their business. So you see what happened to me on HBO against Glaskov. I beat that kid. I beat him, and I didn't beat him. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the same thing with Adamic. I rematched Adamic. Beat him, outclassed him, but I didn't beat him. And, you know, so these people, they didn't put in me until I got with Al Heyman. Al Heyman really, and not even, he's not a promoter, he's an agent, but he put me in positions to where I could maximize my money, maximize my audience, you know, more people can see me. And those fights with the Tarver fight was a draw, which I thought I won, but then the Glaskov fight, the Jezewski fight for the third title, I lost. And then Dibiase, that was what it was. And, you know, so it's like, hey, you had your chance, champ. And I'm like, I feel you, you know what I mean? But, you know, I took my break, opened the gym, and I've been trying to get back in since 2019. And then COVID hits, and then boom, we're there. But so with my kids, he's going to have the ability to utilize our Rolodex that we've created over my career, and it should be better for him. Most of, and not even just that, our knowledge and understanding of boxing is much different. You know, me and my wife's. So we'll be able to guide him and help him. We know this about contracts. We know that about this. You know what I mean? So they'll be in a much better position than I was, no doubt.
So we got 2 questions left. We got Ruin of 504 New Orleans that says, who are you fighting next? Also, can you tell Ness again that Usyk has a chance at beating Fury? Thanks.
Yes.
He's saying that because I just think he's small, and watching him do that to you, watching him do that to Wilder, who's bigger than you, it's like, how is he not? He was in that second round, he reached out for Wilder to lean on. He reached. So it's like he knows what he's doing. He's going to do it to anybody.
Fury perfected, like you said, he's skillful at that. And that's part of his game. Now, like I'm saying, I give Usyk and them the credit because their training team is phenomenal. You know, with Lomachenko and Usyk, look what those guys have done. And so I think they will see, all right, look at what he did with Cunningham. Okay, look at what he did with Wilder. All right, this is how we avoid that. I think they'll come with a dope game plan. And then just outside of that, Usyk's movement won't allow him to be laid on like that as much. You know, so I'm rooting for Usyk in that one. You know, I'm not just rooting for him. I'm rooting for him against Fury. Like, oh, I want him to beat Fury. I believe his skill set is enough to do it. Now, what was the other question?
Who are you fighting next?
Polish guy named Nikodem Jezewski. I'm scheduled to fight him October 22nd. So I've been training my butt off, and I had an opportunity to come here and camp, get some more work, get some solitude, and go to work. So that's what it is. So we'll see. We're going to work, baby.
All right, we got Israel Rubber in Oklahoma. He says, we met in Pittsburgh. You were a very gracious host. From one Navy man to another. When next in Oklahoma, lunch on me. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you again, Steve. We appreciate your time. As always, wish you the best of luck, obviously, with your sons in the gym. Beautiful facility. Let everybody know where that gym is at in case they want to go get a workout in and get trained by the champ.
All right, man. Listen, hit us up on on Instagram and Facebook, USS Fight Academy. We're located in the Pittsburgh area, North Versailles. Beautiful facility. We host our own shows. We had the Boxing Voice there with their show. It was great. It was entertaining. It was crazy. We loved it. And like we said, the door's open for them to come on back. Also, for you guys that don't know about my comic book, USS Comics, I turned myself into a superhero and the guys that I fought in the supervillains. My first comic book, 3-part series with me versus Amir Mansour, Hardcore Mansour. Check it out at USS Cunningham. At USS Comics on all platforms. At USS Comics, the third and final installment to USS vs. Hardcore. It will be out at the end of October. Let's go, baby.
So is Tyson in the book?
Nah, he's not in the book because I kind of, when I first did the comic book, it was about my cruiserweight opponents. Mm-hmm. And then I decided when Travis Kaufman was going to fight Amir Mansour in 2017, I shifted the story. I had a whole comic book drawn, but then I was like, yo, let me use that fight to help promote the comic book. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, draw just a short skit about me and Amir Mansour fighting to bring some attention to the comic book. And that turned into 90 pages, 3 comic books. Wow. 2 years later.
That's amazing.
But it's been successful, man. It's been selling, man, and people love the story, man. I'm doing everything, the art, the story. I'm doing everything. So that's kind of what took it so long. But I also, with USS Comics, am turning other fighters into superheroes. So my next comic book I'm doing won't be about me. It's going to be about, my sons, the USS Fight Academy. But Austin Trout has a book. I have a book that I'm almost done with Austin Trout. And then I got Danny Garcia on board. We tried to get Wilder on board for his second fight with Ortiz. PBC hit me up and was like, listen, hey, because they follow me and, they know what I'm doing. And they were like, listen, how about you do a short skit, on the fight, before the fight. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, yo, this is it. And so they got the green light from Ortiz. It was Ortiz's team, but we couldn't get the green light from Wilder. That was a little sticky. So it didn't happen. But now that I have books out, I'm going back to PBC soon, and we're going to talk about some type of deal. I got a plan. I don't want to talk too much about, don't talk about what your next move is.
Well, I got Frank Warren on the line, so maybe he'll give you a call and you guys could get into that Tyson Fury comic book business.
Hey, oh, no, listen, I'm with that, too. I'm with that because, I drew a couple pictures of Fury and Wilder, like before their fight. Before the big fights, I used to draw, just the characters. Yeah. And comic book superhero form. So you guys can go on USS Comics on Instagram and just search through. You'll see I did Daniel Jacobs. I did Fury before. I've done Ruiz before the Joshua fight. Check out my creativity, man.
Well, Steve, give out that information for your social media one more time and where they can find the comic books. And I'm going to go ahead and get this interview going with Frank Warren, the promoter of Tyson Fury. But we appreciate your time as always, man. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Again, the comic book is USS Comics on all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. My personal Instagram is USS's Legend, all right, on Instagram. Hit me up. Check the comic book out. Check out the art. Drop some likes. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you once again. Ladies.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.